Suppose you are a teacher and you give your student an online test. Since you are a nice person, you allow them to submit their answer multiple times within 24 hours. But the only catch is that the final grade is the grade of the last attempt, whether it's higher or lower than the previous one. The scores are not revealed until the test period ends. So after 24 hours, you end up with this table. So this is the table that records all the score, the attempt that student make for this test. So you can see that there are 3 columns in this table: student ID, the attempt number, and the score of each attempt. The problem is we want to find only the final score, but this table consists of all the score for all the attempts. We know that the final score is the score of the last attempt, but the problem is we don't know what is the last attempt, because each student may submit different may have different number of submission. For example, if you look at the first student, which is student 1852, he only made 1 attempt to solve this problem, and he got 88 score. Next student 1853, he made 2 attempts, and his final score would be 24, unfortunately. And student 1854, he made 4 attempts, and his final score will be 37. And for the student 1855, his final score will be 48, because he made 6 attempts and only the last attempt count. So this is the table. We have student ID, we have attempt number, and we have the final score. We cannot simply use where clause in this case, because we don't know the final attempt of each student. For example, if we type 4, then we only got the 4 attempt, but there are students who only make 3 attempt or 1 attempt, then we miss all that student. And there are students that do more than 4 attempts, and the last attempt will not count in this case. So simply we cannot use where clause. That's why in this case we will introduce one more trick in SQL, which is row number. Row number is a window function that allows us to, like the name suggests, give row number for each of the student, which means that we can rank the attempt for each of the student. So let's see that in action. So the syntax would be row number parenthesis over partition by student ID. We will get to that in a minute. Order by attempt number, and we call it row nums. If we go ahead and run this statement, we can see that we have a new column called row num, which is given a row number to our table. You can notice that this row number is the same with the attempt. However, that's not what we want. We want to order it by descending instead of ascending. So what it does is it's go ahead and look for each student, and then we see all the attempt for each student, and we go ahead and rank the attempt number in a reverse order. Which means that the biggest attempt number will become the smallest. In this case become 1, and the smallest attempt will become the the biggest. In this case it become 4 because there are 4 attempts for this student. So the function again is called roll number, and partition by, which means that we look for all the student. Partition by student is look for all the student, and order by attempt number is to reverse order of the attempt number, so that we have, the trick is to have these columns called roll number of the last attempt equal to 1. Then we can easily filter this roll number equal to 1, then we get the final score. So before we do that, we have to make this query become a subquery. You can do that by selecting, we can do select student ID, attempt number, score from can call it Z, where Z dot row nums equal 1. So in this case you can see that we only select the final score of the student, which is the last attempt, the biggest attempt. Since we reverse order the roll number, the biggest become 1 and the smallest become whatever the biggest. And then after we filter roll number equal 1, which means that we take the last attempt of the student. We can go ahead and remove this attempt because it doesn't really give meaning. So this is the final score. However, if you are using Pandas with Python in a Jupyter notebook, you can achieve the same result by using Pandas. So this is the data that we seen before in MariaDB. We can actually find the final score using Pandas as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort it first by student ID, because I want to rank all the students with their attempt together, and second column would be attempt number. However, the order I want student ID to be sorted ascending, so, and then attempt number to be descending, so that we have the last attempt up front, above, and the first attempt below. So if I run that, I see that the last attempt become the first for this ID, and the first attempt become the last for the same ID. Then I can go ahead and use the groupby command, groupby function. I want to group by student ID, and I want to use head function and 1, which means that head is a function to take the top row. Head 1 means that we take the top 1 row, and since we group by student ID, we're going to take the top 1 row for each student, which is happen to be the last attempt, since we sort the attempt number to descending. So after I run this, I get the same result from as what we get in SQL as well. So this is how we get the final score, with final score defined as the score of the last attempt.